Hello dear group members, I am Peter Platt and we have a new drawing for correction. The drawing was uploaded about, I think it's about 2 weeks ago. Yes, it's about 2 weeks ago, but didn't had a chance to make a correction on it. The drawing was made by Julia Rishkuca. I will write her name here. Right, and I like the she wrote to us that I like the shape of the creature, but I don't like the shading. It looks bland and dirty in my opinion. Do you have any ideas? So as I wrote to her in the comments also, it feels like the drawing is pretty small, and that is one thing which can be pretty difficult to color. Also, I think she colored with colored pencil, and also I want to mention that she didn't did too much attention to the lights, so that's why the drawing doesn't have the creature doesn't have shape. It has some colors, as you see here, and this is pretty beautiful here, as you see, but there aren't too much values, and this is pretty much nice, and because it has a darker value and it has some lighter values also, but this part and the body and the neck, it doesn't have any volume because it doesn't have the light source and doesn't have the the shadowing done. So to go back in the beginning, I want to mention a few things. The first thing I mentioned in the comments, I think also. Yes, I have been written that some shapes are pretty are pretty same, and some shapes like this one, the shapes are a little bit too likewise, right, uniform, and yeah, I really like the head, and this kind of thing is really nice. Also the tail is really nice, as you can see here. Also this part, it's a little bit these two parts are a little bit uniform and doesn't have any value on them. One more thing which is bothering me a little bit, I don't feel his the creature body here inside. I would like to see some shape here which could give him a nice back shape, so it would have a nice form for his body. One thing I want to mention, the first thing, is that I would suggest you to make some some small sketches before you start to draw an animal or creature, right? And as I look at your creature, it has a nice round head, long head, right? And it has nice ears, right? And what is important about sketches that they don't need to be too big. They can be smaller than this, which I have been drawing here. So I erase, and let's make some small I want to see his body a little bit, and this thing here, it's really nice, right? I can have my pencil on like this, not just with the tiny bit of the pencil, but I can use my pencil like this, and I can draw some longer lines, right? And she has this nice, and as you can see, I start to draw those shapes which aren't visible, because it doesn't matter, we can erase all the time, so it's not a problem. Right, we have his belly, right, and we have a nice tail, right, we have a longer tail, right, and this in this manner, in this stage, I don't really push my pencil. I just try to find some shapes, some interesting shapes, right? And here's the back of the animal, and we can do some interesting shapes there, and it doesn't look too nice, the drawing, but one thing I want to mention, that if you are using your pencil like this, in this manner, you can draw broad lines, so you don't mess up your lines. They aren't too visible, and you are not committed to those lines. But once you have a line which is on your taste, you can take the pencil and you can draw it a little bit more defined, with some defined lines, right? And she has a nice neck. I think she has a longer neck, which means that we need to push his head a little bit up, like this. Alright. Okay, we are gonna look after the perspective also. Alright. I want to see his belly here. It's pretty nice. Alright, and I think here we have some shapes which are looking like a fish tail. Right. Alright, like this, okay, and we have his back a little bit there, and we have a nice broad lines here. Wait a minute, so I will adjust my camera. Alright, so I adjusted my camera so I can you can see all my drawing. And since it's just a sketch, I can really nice go inside and do just a quick value. So I will take my light direction from there, and I will try to make to work on my creature, having in mind that he has a nice light from that part. Alright, maybe we have other parts here which are showing. And also I really love this kind of things here. What is bothering me is that the shapes and the forms are pretty similar, and maybe we can make those shapes a little bit more interesting. Also, we need to think that the artist wanted to make those shapes as something which can stab. Alright, they can be really sharp. And let's see. Okay. And let's make another one. You can see, I used the pencil in the same manner. I do draw broad lines, so I'm not committed to any shape. Alright. So I really like this shape. So I will make some adjustments, and now I will try to draw a little bit more precise using my top of my pencil. As you can see, I started to have my pencil in different way. Alright, one more thing, these shapes are have the same direction, and that could be also something a little bit boring, so we need to do something with them, and we need to think about making the shapes a little bit different than right. Let's make this one. Okay, so this is just a quick sketch. We have a nice shape here, so I will start to work on it. I will push my pencil, so I will have a nice shape there. It has a nice head also, right? Let's see here. has nice tail here. It's like a tail of a rooster, so you can search for a nice picture of a rooster and try to make the tail as natural as possible. Alright, that's on Sketch. As you can see, it was pretty fast, and I use my pencil broadness to just make a quick value adjustment, so I can see where are my forms and shapes. Alright, and maybe these shapes are a little bit darker as a value. Alright, a little bit later on this drawing I will talk on the difference of the value and color. Alright, I hope that I don't forget. Let's put one more. Okay, this is one of the sketches, and as you can see I use an A4 paper. It's pretty big, even if it's just a sketch. Alright, there are some things I don't like here, so I adjust them. Alright, some shadows. Alright, this could be nicer, this movement, but since it's a sketch I will leave it like that, and I will start to make another one. Just bear with me. I take another paper. Alright. We take another paper and we start to make another sketch. Now I know what is it all about. Now I know what it should look like, and sorry about that. Now I can work a little bit faster on the drawing and more looser, and I can give a nice character. Let's put this here. Alright, let's put him nice belly here. I am thinking about the big picture, so I will not lose myself in the details. So I will start to make some changes. We have here the other one, the other part which isn't visible totally. Alright, and we can start by making the tail. You don't have enough room for the tail, it's not a problem, it's just a sketch. So this is the belly, these are the tails which he has. Alright, and it has a nice tail here. I am being careful not to make the tail the same lines and same directions. Maybe I do a lot of lines and I'm not committed on them, so I will come back later. As this is starts to be really nice. Alright, it has nice and we can see that he has a nice shapes here, and in the background you can see the same shapes. So I will make it a little bit darker so it's visible. Alright, I have the back, a little bit of the back, and maybe something like this, some feathers. They are the same, so I will redraw them. Alright. I'm not too good with creatures, I didn't draw too much creatures. Alright. So it's better than the other one, so I will put the other one aside, and we can work a little bit on this. It has pretty big tail, so it's not visible. We can put another paper beneath, so we can make the drawing a little bit longer. We can take a little scotch and we can make a paper adjustment. Alright, since this is just a sketch, I can do whatever I want. So we will make a tail a little bit longer, and as you can see I use broad lines, so I'm trying to find the shapes. Like that. Let's see here. The direction doesn't need to be the same. Alright, and it has a nice tail. Alright, and as you can see it's a really nice sketch. Starts to have shape, and we are looking for those shapes between the tail. So I start to make them a little bit more different. They need to be the same because it's all of them are the same, but you need to remember that we don't draw something the same like this. Alright, okay. I'm sorry because I'm sick a little bit, so I am alright, having in mind the perspective. Alright, here we have a nice shape, as you know, the, how it says, the horse has those shape here. It has nice eye here, and he has a nice shape, which is pretty big. Alright, the same shape, it's visible here. Alright, and now I start to define the shapes. So I have my pencil in that manner, in which I can draw nice lines. Alright, okay, here's the back of our, and we need to have this shape on the other part. It seems to me that we need to have the same shape, not not the same, but something likewise. Right, and since it's in back, I will give it just a tone, and let's see. Since it's a creature which is flowing in the air, it seems to me that it's nice if those lines are a little bit floating, right? Alright, since I have drawn this creature twice, my hand starts to go pretty nice, and my lines are flowing nicely. Alright, so I will sharpen my pencil a little bit so that I have some nice sharp lines. Here we have a nice alright. So since I have done a value here, I won't do another one. I will just mention myself that the light is coming from this side. So the lights will be here, most of this will be in shadow. This will be in shadow of the other side, the belly side, right? And another thing is that this is pretty small for color, but I will try to make you some explanation in color with colored pencil, and I won't draw it once more. It would be preferable if you would this is just a sketch. You would redraw the sketch on the finer paper and you would start to color it. Alright, so let's talk about color and value. What is the difference between color and value? Alright, this is a V, value. Alright, color and value. So if I take a red color, right, I will it was a little bit, right, this is a red color, right. We can do any color here, so this is a blue color. Alright, what is the value? Right, I will show you with my pencil. Alright, this is a gray value. Alright, I will do one more. This is a darker gray value than the other one. Alright, and this is more darker, I hope. Yes, it's more darker value than the first two. Alright, so this is value and this is color. Value makes our form to give shape. Alright, so we can have a nice I know that I have drawn this circle a lot of time, this sphere, but the same thing I will do here. It's not enough to reevaluate what you know, what you should know about value. And since we have this light from here, I will do the same. I will have the light from here, which means that we will have the light here, and we will have the shadow on this part. Alright, so this dark value makes our circle look like a sphere. Alright, so in principle this is how we look to things. Alright, very simplified. Right, since we have a light, since we have shadow and light, we have a nice cast shadow beneath our object. Right, okay, and if we have a lighter setup, maybe a little small white table, then we will have some reflections. Alright, which means that our shadow will be a little bit harder, and we will have a nice light beneath the shadow area, which is called reflected light. Alright, so this is it. This is a value. Alright, if I do the same thing, but now I imagine that I have a, let's say what kind, let's say we have a red circle, a red sphere. Right, which means that I will take my red color, right, and I will start with the red color, but I won't do just what I did here. Right, because this is just a color, and since all the object is red, I will have all the object red, but this makes my object flat. Alright, I am sorry because of the line, because it's small paper beneath it, so I will put some paper under. Alright, let's put something else which isn't written. Alright, so this is our red color. Alright, and as you can see, it doesn't show that it's a sphere. because the color doesn't make it sphere. The color it makes just to have a color, but to make it sphere we need to have a shadow. Alright, and in color we can make let's say the shadow a little bit more colder color. Alright, since our object is warm colored like red, we can make our shadow a little bit more colder. So I will use my other pencil, which is blue pencil, and I will start to add my shadow. And as you can see, I follow the pattern on the other side of on the other drawing made with a value, just making with colors. Alright, since this is just a color, I need to make it a little bit darker, so I will take, let's say, brown, something brown, and I will go over it. And as you can see, the brown with the color of blue makes it a little bit darker. Alright, and I go once more. I'm not pushing too hard my pencil, so it's not too harsh. And I go once more with my... Alright, and as you can see, it starts to have a shape, and we have some nice red shape. Alright, make it a little bit more reddish. Alright, and I'm aware that we will have here light, so I'm not going to go with the red there, because I will take my eraser and I will take out a little bit from that color. Alright, not too much. Okay, so I'm not using just color, I am using value with color. I am using the colors combined with different values. Right, let's make a little bit more. Alright, and now you see that we start to have a nice shape. We are gonna go a little bit more with red, so we can see that it's a red sphere. Alright, I didn't made now the bounce light. I made it without bounce light, and we can put just a tiny bit of cast shadow, which we can work with a little bit black together with that nice blue. Alright, I will go over a little bit more. Okay, and let's say we are doing something a little bit more open as color, so we will need to make a little bit more bounce light. So I will take my eraser and I will go and I will make a bounce light. So I will take a good eraser, right? And I will start to take out, I don't know if it can be, it can take out a little bit from that, like this, alright? And as you can see, we have a bone slide there, okay? Right, so as you can see, we have a nice shape which is red. I think I didn't use red, I used something else, but now I will go over it with a little bit red, and as you can see, it starts to be red, our little shape, like that. Alright, just our shadow is has a color a little bit more of a color, cold color, right? And that's how our colors are working, alright? We need to be careful not just with the color, but we need to be careful that colors need to have different values. So our color can be darker when we have a nice shadow, but they can be lighter if we have light and not shadow, right? And as you can see here, the drawing is pretty small, so you have to be careful. The smaller the drawing, the more chances to mess up, that your drawing can become pretty messy because of the size of the drawing. So if you are working with color, especially with colored pencils, you need to have a pretty big paper. So an A4 paper, it's not enough what you have here. You would need at least A3 paper and a whole big character on it, and that would be enough for making a pretty good character without to be too messy. Alright? So let's see, we had a nice blue color, so we need to go with blue color, but we need to go with also we need to think about the light direction. So I will start to clean up my drawing like that, alright, and I will just make just a portion of the drawing, right? And we start with the blue, and we know that this part has light, so the other parts are in shadow. So I will start with the shadow part. I will start to go with my alright. Since I work just with color, I need to be careful what kind of values I do with my colors. So with with pencil I don't recommend to use black because black tends to ruin the colors. So if I do a sample here with blue and I'm going with the black on it, you will see that the blue starts to be a little bit darker, and I go over it with a blue once more and it starts to be more darker, as you can see, and we can go pretty dark with this. Alright, but the same thing you can do with other colors. So I have here some normal school pencils, so I don't have any special color. I just have this these two kinds of brown, but you can if you are buying some special kinds of pencils, you can buy some sienna's color or burnt sienna or something darker, and you can go with brown on the blue color, and you can see that it's almost the same, since these two colors are making themselves a little bit stronger and darker. So you can use a brown together with a blue color, so you don't use black. Right, so we start to go over it with the blue color, start to do some details. Seems to me that this is also bluish. Alright, since this part it's in shadow, I will start with my brown, and as you can see the shape starts to have a nice volume, and you need to be careful not to go too fast and to work clean. And the smaller the image, the harder it is to keep clean. The smaller the image, the easier you can do mistakes. So now I go with my brown color. Alright, the same we can do on this side with his belly. So I will go with his belly like this. Alright, I will erase. I will clean up what I don't need. Alright. Alright. I will put down my black color because I don't want to use it. Alright. So going over your lines, cleaning up and starting the colors and values. Since this is the belly and is the most Alright. It's a little bit more out of the light, so it will have a nice shadow, which means that we need to work with the shadow here. With time you will got to know your pencils, and it will be easier and easier to work with them. So I will go with my blue, right, and I will go over it with my brown color. Alright. You can put a little bit more shadow here, cast shadow. Like this here, right? That will be pretty dark. Right, and the secret is that you don't use just black for the shadow, you are using colors. Right, and now I will clean up the drawing. Right. Alright, so those parts which are in front of the light will be pretty light, so I will try to clear the drawing here, so it becomes a little bit more cleaner. Right. I will go with my I don't push it too hard, so it will be lighter as value, not just as color, but as value. Alright. See? Since this part will be in shadow, I will need to come back with my other color. Alright, the same thing. Over and over again. Right. Just be patient and easy. You are going over and over again. Alright, don't forget that you need a bigger paper than this. You can make this part a little bit darker value and a little bit harder as color. Unfortunately, I don't have a thinner color pencil, so I can't use other ones. Just this. But you take the point. You understand what I am doing. Alright. Let's give a little bit more shadow. Alright. And some light. Okay. And as you can see, it doesn't start to be dirty. Also, you need to be careful which kind of paper do you use. This paper which I used, it's not perfect for colors, it's just copy paper. It's not the best paper in the world for this kind of work, but this is what I had at home. I don't use usually color pencils, so that's why I don't have good paper for color pencils. Right, I will leave a little bit white there for the light, and I will go with just a tiny bit of shadow. Right. Alright, I believe his nose a little bit white. I do like it. Let's take a lighter blue. Right. Also, you need to be careful to erase the graphite before you are doing the coloring, because graphite tends to mess up your colors, which I didn't do here, so it messes up my orange color. This is a nice oval shape here. Beneath the eye. And here's the eye. Alright, so just you need to have patience. Alright, let's take a little bit black, so I make it a little bit darker under his chin, under his face. As you see, I don't push too hard, I don't do black, I just go over my blue, so my blue becomes darker and doesn't become a black. And if I need, I go over it once more, not pushing too hard. Okay, and the same principle, same techniques you can use with color pencils, which you can use with the regular pencil with graphite. So we start. Let's see. Let's make a nice background. You don't want to make a hard background, so I put just some nice green, and I'm going over it with a yellow, so the background becomes a little bit more warmer. The background is important too. I make it lighter on the shadow side. Right, since this part is in shadow, I do it lighter, the background. And again I use the yellow color, so I make it a little bit more warm. Since yellow is pretty a soft color, you can push it a little bit harder. You see? Since I don't push too hard, the green color, it's pretty soft, and it has a nice soft, less dark value. Right? Just don't rush things. If you start rushing things, your color will be like this. So if you are rushing too hard, your color will be uneven. Some places are good, some places aren't good if the color is uneven, so be careful. You need time to work on this. And you take a nice sharp pencil. If you don't have, you can make on this sandpaper. Right. And you can go nicely on the edge, pushing a little bit more. Sorry about that. I'm a little bit sick. Right? And you are going slow, and you will have a nice drawing. Alright, you see? I won't make all the drawings, so I think this is enough for you to watch, and it would be great if you could redraw this, and you can use the coloring techniques I showed you now, and let's see what you can do. Alright, if you have something, please upload it, and we will see how it looks. Alright, so firstly make a few sketches, then when you have a sketch, transfer it on a bigger paper and clean it and start making the values and colors. Alright, hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time. Goodbye.